Hello and good Friday. That's right. It's Good Friday. And it's April 18th. And I'm Chris Allen here with your 270 weather. Weather for the 270 area code and beyond. Good morning to you. It is Easter weekend. I know that you've most likely made some plans to be out, maybe even outside, and you want to know what the weather is going to be. I've got it for you. It's all looking good right now. As a matter of fact, we can look outside at the moment with a live shot from the Plano Cam here at 7:22 a.m. Central Daylight Time, and you can see that we've got a good start. There have been a few clouds around this morning, but we expected some of those to fly by last night, and they did, and now they're beginning to clear out. And for the most part, it's going to be a sunny day, but it's also going to be very windy. That is going to be the big deal today. With the warmth, there is going to be a lot of wind. It's not going to be wind that's going to blow up a storm, as my grandfather used to say. It's going to be the kind of wind that just it's breezy, but it's a warm breeze from the south. It's going to feel nice, real nice. So, yeah, looking good right now, though, this morning, with temperatures, what, in the 60s already. So, yeah, good stuff. Makes you think about, spring, and it makes you think about flowers and plants and herbs and all of that. Just want to remind you that you get this on your calendar for next Wednesday, starting next Wednesday, but this is going to go for 12 straight days, the 26th annual Herb Festival here in Bowling Green under the Big Tent at 901 Lehman Avenue, right there in front of the Wild Bird and Nature Store. And, the largest selection of Kentucky grown plants, herbs, perennials, heirlooms. Then you've got bird feeders, bird baths. And then on top of that, anything you want to learn about growing plants and flowers and taking care of the birds. I mean, they've got it all. It's Jerry, Jeffy, and Yvonne. They're all putting this together. Um, and it's the 26th. Before this year, I hadn't heard of it, but they watch my podcast and they said, "Hey, we'd like to at least get the word out." And I'm like, "Okay, we can do that. I got a fairly big audience." So here we go. And it's going to be from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. every single day, starting Wednesday and going for 12 days, all the way through Saturday, May 3rd, which is Kentucky Derby Day. So it's going to be good, rain or shine, cool or warm. It doesn't matter. It's all going to be right there under the big tent at 901 Lehman Avenue, the Herb Festival, not Herb Tarlick or Herb Tarlick. The salesman from WKRP in Cincinnati, that guy that wore the strange suits, not him. So this is about herbs. All right. Here's a here's a look at the numbers from yesterday. 78. And it felt good. It felt really good. There was a bit of a breeze, but it felt great. 7 degrees warmer than the normal of 71. And the low temperature was 43 and no precipitation for the past 24 hours. All right. Here's a look at radar. Now, there are some echoes on the radar, but remember what I told you yesterday. And if you were watching me last night on News 40, I said, we may start to see some activity on the radar, but there's really nothing hitting the ground. And such is the case again this morning. There's just a weak little piece of upper level energy that's passing through ahead of a warm front, and it looks like it's raining back, west of Evansville and down to Paducah and west of Nashville. But a lot of that, the majority of it, is not even reaching the ground. And that's because we have very low dew points. There's just not, uh, at the surface, there's just nothing to support this. And it's because we have such dry air. I mean, if you step outside, it's not humid, it's warm, but the air is very dry here near the surface. So what's happening? The radar beam is going up, hitting rain, actual raindrops, but then the rain is evaporating. As soon as it tries to come down to the ground, it goes away. There you got to have moist air in order to support that raindrop coming all the way down to the ground. And right now, it's just not there. So we're seeing a lot of echoes on the radar, but nothing is happening until you get up there, St. Louis, maybe Carbondale, where you see the darker greens. That actually could be hitting the ground. But other than that, if anything, it is going to be just sprinkles, nothing more than that. Or maybe just a faint couple of raindrops and really nothing more. Okay. So I know you look at the radar and you think, oh, there's trouble coming. No, there's not. Not today. Here's a look at the high resolution satellite. You can see some of the scattered clouds that have been moving through Bowling Green. And you see some of these clouds back to the west. And some of these are, as you can see, are building some tops on them. So I think as we go through the day, these are going to be more in the way of thunderstorms later on. St. Louis, maybe down to Mount Vernon, Cape Girardeau, back into the Boot Hill of Missouri and Arkansas. Yeah, there will be enough moisture coming in and enough instability that those folks could see some thunderstorms later on. But for us, we're going to stay in the clear. I don't really see anything changing for us. In fact, most of the weekend, I don't think it's going to be all that bad. I mean, it keeps getting better and better with each time I look at the models and the forecast, which is great. All right, here's a look at the Kentucky Mesonet network of sensors all across the Commonwealth. And temperature wise, good. As I mentioned, mid 60s, all looking good. Um, we're going to easily, I think today, easily get into the 70s and even the low 80s. Now, here's another way I can show you that even though, let me turn on the radar. Now you see there's not much going on as far as the radar. There's some of those echoes we saw back west of us, but here's how I know proof of the dry air at the surface. I'm looking at like the sensor down toward the Ag Expo Center here in Bowling Green. The temperature is 64.7, or almost 65, and the dew point is only at 50. 50. So we're talking about 15-degree difference. So the humidity is only 59%. And that's why, it's an indication when you get um, departures. So look at those temperatures in the 60s. Then we look at the dew points, which are in the 40s and 50s. Well, you're talking a good spread of 15 to 20 degrees from the actual air temperature. So, in other words, the air temperature is showing us how warm it is, but the dew point is telling us how much moisture that temperature can hold. And right now, there's a big gap between the air temperature and the dew point. So, when you see those gaps like that, it means what we're seeing. Radar sees something, but yet there's nothing hitting the ground. Yeah, that's how that works. So that's good. That's why I'm telling you there's not going to be an issue with rain today. Now, the winds have already started to pick up. And as you can see over the 270, we've got southerly winds. These are sustained winds, by the way, 10 to 15, 16 miles per hour. So certainly that means the gusts are going to be much higher. And there we go. We've got some gusts of 22. There's another 22 here in Warren County, at 21 over in Metcalfe County. Yeah. So a south wind that is going to be strong today. It wouldn't surprise me if we have some winds today at gusting to 40, especially this afternoon. But again, not the kind of wind that's going to blow in storms. It's just going to blow. It's going to be a kind of a windy day across the area. Now, what about the talk of severe weather? Well, the good news is it keeps getting better and better for us here in Southern Kentucky in the 270. This is the severe weather threat for today. And it's going to be back there where I showed you those building clouds, those towering cumulonimbus clouds are already starting to pop. And that's back towards St. Louis, Cape Girardeau, into central Illinois, Decatur, Effingham, those places, and then over toward Indianapolis. That's a level 2 slight risk for strong storms, a few severe into the afternoon and evening. Nothing for us, really. I mean, that little light green stripe there is just, your general thunderstorms, your garden variety stuff, if that even happens. But that's even west of us. I don't think we'll see any storms today or tonight. Those have been completely taken out of the forecast as the models are now in more agreement to taking everything further west of our area. Uh, Tornadoes, there's a conditional threat, I think, or low level threat of that through parts of Illinois, Missouri, and Indiana. That's going to be the focus today. And that's also where the focus for uh, damaging wind and also hail is going to be the threat. Okay, now let's take a look at Saturday. And as you'll recall, we originally were going to have a risk of severe weather here, but notice that it's been pushed back further west and northwest. So it's right along the Ohio River and right along the Mississippi River. Those are going to be the trouble spots for tomorrow. And even this is not much of a threat. Things are looking or trending a little less active. Let's put it that way. But there could be a few renegade storms from Cincinnati, Louisville, Owensboro, maybe Madisonville and Paducah. But for us, not much of anything at all tomorrow. In fact, most of the day tomorrow is looking fairly dry. Now let's talk about Easter Sunday. Here is the severe weather threat for Sunday. And look, just not much happening here. This time, this go round is not going to be focused on us. It's going to be focused on areas west, far to the west of us, in parts of Missouri and Arkansas and Illinois. So there's your Sunday. We could have a passing shower or thunderstorm, but otherwise, we are not looking at a severe weather situation. And then after that, we get into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're all clear. No severe weather for a change setting up for us, which is good news. Really good news. I think we've had enough bad weather to last us for a long, long time. I know it doesn't work that way, but it's nice to think that we're we're going to get a prolonged break from severe weather, but never let your guard down. Just know that we're going to take a nice break. and appropriately for Easter weekend. Here's the maps. You can see the warm front. That's the boundary that is touching off what we saw was a few, what it looked like raindrops, sprinkles, but a majority of that's not hitting the ground. There you see the tight lines, and that means windy conditions all day today. So any kind of warm breezes today are going to feel nice. They're not going to feel all that humid because we're dry, and it's going to stay dry. This is 1 o'clock this afternoon. You see the cold front approaching, but it's going to slow down. And that's why this section of the country, back into Kansas, Nebraska, maybe Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, and even Indiana, they're the ones that's going to be the target for the stronger storms and the heavy rain this weekend. Not us. Not us. Here's 7 o'clock tonight. The front slows down even more. Rain and thunderstorms stay back to the west. So we're going to keep everything dry today and even tonight. And really, if we look at this, much of it is going to stay west of us tomorrow for Saturday. The front slows down even more, big red zone into parts of Oklahoma, and the severe weather threat will be aligned with the cold front, which is not going to park, but it's going to slow down. And that keeps all the nasty weather away from us. So much of the day tomorrow, Saturday, will be dry and warm, with maybe a few showers along the Ohio River. The more north and west you go, the better the odds of getting a shower. Here's 7 o'clock Saturday night. Showers edging just a little bit closer to Bowling Green. The western part of the 270 and the 364 will have some showers as the front kind of, as I mentioned, quasi stationary or almost stationary, and a wave of low pressure will ride along the front. But the better, heavier rain is going to be north of the boundary. Okay. Here we go into Easter Sunday morning. And notice the front flexes just a little bit more north. That keeps the rain off of us. So now I'm going to say, yeah, there's a very small chance that there might be a shower early Sunday morning. But now everything is coming into better view here with the details. And it looks to me like we might be able to get Easter sunrise services in without a drop of rain. It's looking more and more like that, depending on where you are. And now, if you're closer to the Ohio River or say the Wabash River, you're more likely to get a shower Sunday morning. But even now, it looks pretty dry, especially for southern Kentucky. Now we go into Monday morning. The front starts to make some forward progress. So, see, it doesn't get hung up long. And by the time it reaches us, it will have spent a lot of energy back here. So, by the time it gets to us, it's going to try to overcome the dry air at the surface, and it's going to have a hard time bringing us a lot of rain. I don't think there's going to be much rain as the front comes through, but there could be a few showers and thunderstorms, especially Monday morning. But by Monday afternoon and evening into Tuesday, high pressure begins to build back in. We're looking good. Here we go into Wednesday. Another system, actually the same system. You can see here the same system drops south. It stalls along the Gulf states. And the next piece of energy comes in and meets up with it. So it's naturally going to squeeze out some showers as we get into Wednesday. And then here we go into Thursday. Fairly good coverage of rain, but we're not talking about heavy rain. These will be your pretty much ordinary showers and occasional thunderstorms. Nothing that screams severe weather or anything or any heavy rain or flooding or anything like that. Whatever rain we get over the coming days is not going to change anything about river levels or that pond that's still sitting in your front yard or in a field somewhere. Uh, those are slowly going down, but it's going to take the rest of the month to get rid of those. All right, but look at this. Here's the model blender. And what do you see here? The first thing I see is how warm it's going to be for the next 10 days. And for the first time that I've noticed this spring, I don't see a chill. I don't see like we go from 80 one day to like 50s and 60s the next day. I don't see that. Do you? No. 70s and 80s all the way through. And then overnight lows staying in the very comfortable, mild, sometimes even warm 50s and 60s. I don't see any threat of frost. I don't see anything chilly. I don't see anything really all that cool. This is nice. And it takes us almost all the way to the end of April. So that's that's wonderful. Wonderful news, especially if you're um, wanting to get some things done outdoors. I think we're going to have more opportunity to do that in the coming days. There's a look at the 7-day forecast that I put up last night on News 40 and WNKY.com, along with the News 40 weather app. 82 today, no rain. Saturday, 83. There is a slight chance of getting a shower tomorrow evening. That's about it. Sunday, I can now say that that 50% chance of a shower has been brought way down, and the chance of rain on Sunday is now evening into Monday morning. So that's when the better chance of rain is going to come our way. Not Sunday morning, but Sunday night. So again, if you're planning Easter sunrise services Sunday, I think you're going to be okay. 82 the high, then 75 with the clouds and the rain, cooling us down a few degrees on Monday. We get a break Tuesday. Then here comes a little bit more in the way of shower activity, as I showed you for Wednesday and Thursday, with upper 70s and low 80s. Really good I think it's a really good forecast considering uh this time of the year and the stuff that we've had lately. We're not going to have that. We're not going to have flooding rain. We're not going to have severe weather, at least right here. We're not. And it's Easter weekend. What more could you ask for? I mean, yeah, you could ask for perfect weather, but I mean, this is good. This is all good. All right. So I'll be here all Easter weekend, updating you every day as I normally do. So you can check back in with me later, right here, or anytime by downloading that QR code you see down there. That's the News 40 weather app. When you scan that, you can download it to your Android or iPhone, and you can see the weather anytime because we keep that constantly updated with radar and bulletins if there are any and all that. But I don't foresee even any kind of bulletins or anything like that coming this weekend. Um, so I'll see you tonight on News 40, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. And all throughout the weekend, we'll keep you updated right there on the app and at WNKY.com and right here at 270 Weather. In the meantime, enjoy your finally Friday, your good Friday. And let's remember why it's Good Friday. It's Good Friday. It was a terrible situation, but it had to be done. So it's a good Friday. God, thank you all. Happy Easter. If I don't see you, Have a good one, and thanks for watching. God bless.